Good afternoon, everybody on YouTube. This is Rick Thomas from Obsolete Video Services. Okay, guys, as you can see, we're working on a Panasonic M2 deck. Haven't worked on one of these probably in about 5 years, but I kind of know the drill after a while. It's like riding a bike. You kind of know how to do it once you start getting a hold of another one, such as this. Always the same problems with these pieces of shit. This is the biggest piece of crap format ever. I had to rebuild the loading carriage because people were forcing the tape in the carriage and they threw all the plastic gears out of alignment because they couldn't get it to load, and on top of it, that wasn't the issue. Okay, all right, as you can see, guys, this whole mechanism had to be taken apart and redone, and I'm gonna show you. You see these where my fingers are? These are the loading pins. All three of these three right here, they would be seized up due to aluminum and metal contact, because that's what they made them out of, and they would seize up in place because of no lubrication, and after a while of sitting, they don't want to move, and also due to heat and everything else would also cause that too. So when these don't move, these three pins, this one, and this one, it causes error codes because the tape won't be pushed through into the loading ring to be loaded around the mechanism. All right, we took all this apart, put a new belt in, also had made the adjustment to the loading ring. I want to show you guys something. Now watch those pins. Watch how they move. Okay, when I do this, see them moving? As you can see, these are very unfrozen. They're not locked at all, and that's how they're supposed to be. Now watch, when I move them, all right, they should start moving. See how they go into position? Now watch. They are all three of those pins, that's what it's supposed to do. If it doesn't do that, the tape won't be pulled through so the loading ring could load the tape. Those three arms are the biggest issue to this deck. All right, see how easy it is for the loading motor to pull the tape through the machine? That's what it's supposed to do, guys. See? Very easy. Pulls the tape through the machine, and it'll pull all the way across, and then it will load into the machine. If these three arms do not go into the positions where they belong, one here in movement, one here all the way over in movement, and then one all the way into there for movement, the tape will come up into an error code. These things are a real pain in the ass. You got to take them completely out, and you got to re-lube them. They're aluminum on metal. It's like an aluminum arm, and they seize up on the stainless steel pin that these things slide on. So you got to take them off, and you got to take them off, and you got to re-lube them. What I do is basically, I have some oil that I have mixed with a portion of Prolong, which is a engine treatment stuff, which makes it a super slick oil. And I use those in these little syringes. As you can see, this has got Prolong in it. It's very slick stuff. And that's going to prevent that from ever happening again with the aluminum on stainless steel. They're very loose now, and that will not seize up again. So I had to do that one, I had to do the center one, and I had to do the one on the right. Now, if you look, bring them back a little bit. Let's see. Let's bring these back so I can show you how loose they are now. See, they have to be real loose. If they're not, you're going to be having all kinds of problems. And I'm going to tell you guys, these machines are a real pain in the ass. Let's see here. Go all the way back in. Let's get this loading back towards loading, okay? See, they all have to move adjacent to each other, or you can have loading errors, okay? And as you can see how loose this is? That's how it's supposed to be. This one here moves along with that one. Along the loading ring, that one moves. So if they don't move freely, see how all three of them are pulling back in together? Look at that, all the way in. And you got perfect loading. All right, these are the biggest problems with this deck. So all this has got to be pulled out, and it's got to be re-lubed and readjusted. There's also an adjustment on the back of this ring. If the tension on this ring is too tight, it also drags on the motor, so it doesn't want to move it around easy enough. So sometimes you have to adjust that tension. Plus, if the ring is out of whack, like this one was, it was totally out of alignment, sometimes you have to take that off to reset the ring back in the correct spot, which is what I had to do. But overall, guys, we're getting there. Got everything freed up. got the loading carriage fixed. Loading carriage had broken gears on both sides. Well, not actually broken, but out of alignment. This one here, I had to pop a pin back in, but they were totally out of alignment. We got that all back in, put a brand new loading belt on it. So the loading carriage is going to work just fine. They were forcing tapes in the carriage because the loading mechanism wouldn't drag the tape through the deck. This is why they screwed up this loading carriage. Happens every time. Every time I get one of these. Every frickin' time. Because people, they force tapes into these decks and they end up wrecking the carriage. And normally it's not the carriage at all. It's always the mechanism that does the continuation after the carriage to get the deck to load. You got to know how to work on these decks, guys. It's very complicated. It's a process. The tape gets loaded in the carriage. It shuffles it down to lock in place. And these gears pull it through the machine so the loading ring could drag it all the way around in loading position. If anything's off, I mean, anything in this mechanism, you're going to get tape error codes big time, up the wazoo. It happens constantly. But this is a real pain in the ass deck, guys. It took me about an hour, but I got all this taken out and re-lubed, and getting to this belt wasn't very much fun. I had to change that out. I adjust the loading ring because the loading ring got snagged out of place because of being forced with tapes, it threw this ring completely off, and I had to go and reset that. So we got the loading ring in proper position. We got the loading arms all working properly, all loose like they're supposed to be. And so we're making progress, and my next video will probably be when I try a test tape on this, which probably will play with no problem. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video.